There are constraints that funders have. We often think of funders as being kind of all powerful and all flexible, but in fact, they operate within their own constraints, and how to create the space for partnerships even within those constraints. And I think the same is probably true within bilateral agencies that support the research and evaluation, that there are ways to make the most of the resources.
Even within the aid apparatus, they agree kind of on the question and the purpose of evaluation with learning, but they don't yet take that understanding and build it into the way they design programs or the way that they actually approach this institutionally.
These evaluations are designed to mainly trigger collective actions for management without directly informing or influencing the decisions of some of my client countries. And these processes need to be inclusive and possibly widely shared and systematically brought to the relevance of the clients so that they can make informed decisions.
My sense is always that we don't spend enough time really sort of investing in sort of the lasting sort of institutional structures that can really ensure that, beyond the life of a project-based evaluation, there is a culture of using evidence. So really thinking about, I like to think of them as sort of kind of the leave behind pieces. So the parts that become embedded into the DNA of a ministry or government agency.
Consider that you might spend XYZ amount of dollars sponsoring 15 different studies in this country over 20 years. And consider putting all of that money over 15 years in one pot and supporting one sort of central organization, which is government, but could have a primary kind of structure, which is government and external and increasingly government now.
I think there's also a question of how how countries can assess themselves on their own kind of data and evidence infrastructure. Do they have the kind of composite parts to make them ready for real evidence-based policy, evidence-driven policy?
For instance, with the government of Tamil Nadu, we worked with them on helping build the capacity of their local evaluation unit, all the way from training them on mixed methods to training them on RCTs to helping them, how do you write an RFP requesting an evaluation? And evaluation doesn't necessarily have to be an RCT, but even, doing a basic descriptive analysis, study.
Before I left the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation in South Africa, there was a lot of push around policymakers suddenly wanting to know much more about impact. But of course, they weren't really thinking about impact evaluation and what it needed. So the importance of being able to distinguish in people's minds what is impact evaluation, what is performance monitoring, and the different roles and relevance of different tools.
Fortunately, over the past 10, 15 years, we've had this experience of learning more and on how to use it, how to incentivize. I'll give you an example. In Mexico, we have an award for remarkable impact evaluations in ministries. So with that award, it's another incentive of saying, well, if we produce good impact evaluations, if we use good impact evaluations, then you will be rewarded publicly with a very nice award. And it's amazing how policymakers and politicians really react on that.
It is a reality for anyone with a vested interest in an evaluation, be it a funder or a country government, to lead to this kind of potential pressure and vested interests. And pressure does not have to be exerted explicitly through withholding funds, but it often could be sort of through questioning the methods or maybe even through self-censorship by the researchers. And we in 3IE, we have played a specialized role as a quality assurer and independent arbitrators of sorts in many evidence programs. And I believe this kind of role, in some shape or form, is still needed.